The paddock at Jerez has rarely felt as uneasy for Yamaha as it did this past weekend. What was expected to be another incremental step forward in the long-demanded evolution towards a more powerful engine has instead unraveled into something far more concerning. For Fabio Quartararo, the debut phase of the Yamaha M1 V4 in race conditions has not just exposed weaknesses, it has stripped the machine of its very identity. From the outside, the numbers already tell a sobering story, but beneath those figures lies a deeper technical and philosophical crisis that Yamaha must urgently confront. On paper, the comparison between 2025 and 2026 at Jerez is nothing short of alarming. 1 year ago, Quartararo was fighting at the sharp end, securing pole position and finishing second, just 1.56 seconds adrift of victory. The Yamaha M1 Inline-4, while imperfect, was at least competitive. Fast forward 12 months, and the contrast is stark. Finish position, P14, a drop of 12 places. Gap to winner, 29.5 seconds. Total race time, 41:18, 22 seconds slower than 2025. This is not a marginal regression, it is a collapse in relative performance. In MotoGP terms, a 22-second deficit at a circuit as well understood as Circuito de Jerez Angel Nieto signals a fundamental disconnect between rider and machine. Quartararo's own exaggeration, claiming a 35-second gap, was less about precision and more about emotion. It was the reaction of a rider who no longer recognizes the tool beneath him. Technically, Yamaha's shift from an inline-4 to a V4 configuration was inevitable. The entire MotoGP grid, dominated by V4 machines from Ducati, KTM and Aprilia, has long demonstrated the advantages of compact packaging, stronger acceleration and superior top-end power. Yet in chasing those gains, Yamaha appear to have sacrificed what made the M1 unique. The 2025 Inline-4 machine had a clearly defined DNA, exceptional front-end feel, stability under heavy braking, elite mid-corner speed. Its flaws, rear grip and top speed, were significant but isolated. The 2026 V4, however, has introduced a far more troubling scenario. According to Quartararo, the bike now lacks front-end confidence, natural turning, corner rotation, rear grip, any identifiable competitive advantage. In essence, Yamaha have not solved their previous issues, they have compounded them while erasing their strengths. This is the most dangerous position a MotoGP project can occupy, a machine with no reference point. Without a defining strength, riders cannot adapt their style to compensate. They are left exposed in every phase of the corner. Beyond performance, another issue is quietly raising eyebrows across the paddock: engine usage. Quartararo has already cycled through 4 engines in just 4 rounds, a highly unusual pattern even under concession rules. More intriguingly, one engine has seemingly vanished from the rotation altogether. While Yamaha's concession status allows greater flexibility for development, such irregular usage often hints at underlying reliability concerns. Whether it is a durability flaw, a performance inconsistency, or simply an experimental dead end, the absence of transparency only fuels speculation. In modern MotoGP, where engine allocations are tightly managed, this kind of pattern is rarely accidental. What makes this situation particularly critical is that Yamaha's problem is no longer purely technical, it is conceptual. For years, the M1 stood apart as the last bastion of the corner speed philosophy. While rivals relied on brute acceleration, Yamaha thrived on precision, fluidity, and rider confidence. Quartararo, more than anyone, embodied that philosophy. Now that identity has been diluted without a successful replacement. In the current MotoGP landscape, every competitive bike has a clear strength: Ducati, acceleration and top speed; KTM, braking stability and aggression. Aprilia, balance and traction. Yamaha at present has none. The post-race test at Jerez may prove pivotal, but expectations within the camp appear subdued. Without a significant breakthrough either in engine mapping, chassis balance, or aerodynamics, the 2026 season risks becoming a prolonged development exercise rather than a competitive campaign. For Quartararo, this is more than frustration. It is a race against time. A rider of his caliber cannot afford to spend a full season as a development reference while rivals continue to evolve at race-winning pace. Building a competitive V4 MotoGP machine is not a short-term project. Ducati's dominance today is the result of years of iteration. Yamaha, by contrast, are at the very beginning of that journey. And that is the core dilemma. Because while engineering patience is essential, elite riders operate on a far shorter timeline. What unfolded at Jerez is not just a poor result, it is a warning signal. Yamaha's transition to the V4 era has exposed a deeper structural issue, the loss of a coherent performance philosophy. Until they rediscover a clear identity, whether by refining the V4's strengths or reintroducing elements of the old M1's DNA, the project risks drifting further into obscurity. For Quartararo, the message is already clear. This is no longer about chasing victories, it is about rebuilding belief. The underlying issue extends beyond raw lap time and into the realm of rider psychology. For a competitor like Fabio Quartararo, confidence is not a luxury, it is the foundation of performance. When a rider begins to question front-end grip on corner entry, hesitation creeps in. In MotoGP, that hesitation is measured not in seconds but in tenths, lost at every braking zone. Over race distance, it compounds into the kind of deficit witnessed at Jerez. Equally concerning is how the new V4 configuration appears to disrupt Yamaha's long-established chassis balance. The inline-4 engine traditionally allowed a smoother weight distribution, aiding stability during direction changes. With the V4, packaging becomes tighter, mass centralization shifts, and suddenly the feedback loop between tyre, chassis, and rider becomes unpredictable. Quartararo's complaints suggest Yamaha have yet to harmonize these elements into a coherent package. There is also a strategic miscalculation at play. Yamaha did not merely evolve their previous concept, they abandoned it. In doing so, they forfeited years of accumulated data, rider familiarity, and setup knowledge. While rivals refined their V4 platforms incrementally, Yamaha effectively reset their development curve to near zero. That gap in continuity is now visible every time the bike exits a corner without traction or refuses to hold a line under load.